psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is achieveradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/achieveradio.
What a beautiful day to be alive. My debt is paid and more money arrives. The fridge is full and there's plenty of ice for a fireside chat with anyone I like. What a beautiful day, good to be here, when almost everyone has disappeared. When almost everyone is waiting in line, it's good to meet you in this world of mine.
Welcome, welcome, everybody. It's live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on achieveradio.com. So grateful you're here with us this evening. Another fantastic Monday evening in our almost 6 or 7 year run on achieveradio.com. We will not be stopped or held behind in any way, shape, or form, even though we won't be here next week because Carolyn will be traveling. But that's another story. We're happy to have you with us this evening. 2 hours, an amazing show, as usual, featuring our very own Dr. Carolyn Dean, who is truly one of the most extraordinary women on the face of the planet. And I must say also that usually this time of the show I reserve for basically eulogizing Dr. Dean, even though she's here very present with us, because I just have such great admiration and respect for her. But I have to say tonight, I must reach out and go a little bit beyond Carolyn and talk for a minute about what an amazing radio audience we have, because since we did our show last week, which was very informative and insightful, we received so many phone calls, compliments, information, support, emails, packages of goodies. I mean, it was incredible, the amount of people who listen to the archives, get value from the show, understand what's going on, and are just sending tons of encouragement and support our way, and are looking forward to our new format as we create it as we go. Just like we created the other one, we'll create this one. We're good at creating. That's what we do. So thank you, one and all, everybody who has been listening and being so supportive, and also sharing the same respect for Dr. Dean. And, of course, that's the reason why people are so supportive, because she is such an extraordinary woman at the forefront of the whole natural medicine and allopathic medicine treatment and everything for years and years and years, having so many individual practices of her own, disciplines, I should say, that she's forward into, and now coming full circle to be such an advocate for health freedom and the health freedom movement and personal empowerment and being healthy and happy. And we're so grateful to have her here this evening. Before I bring her on, I just want everybody to know that she does not give medical advice on this radio show, but sometimes she will say what she would do if she were in your circumstances. And so without any further ado, I'd like to welcome this evening Dr. Carolyn Dean. Hello? Uh-oh, wait a minute. Uh-oh, I know what's happening. Wait a minute, I know what's happening. Wait a minute, there she is. Uh-oh.
I was double muted. I had myself muted, and you had me muted. Hello, I'm here. Hopefully my voice is a little less congested today. When I was speaking last week about the FDA warning letter telling me I couldn't speak, then my throat got the message and seized up in a total biology way. And then after that, Ginny, I bit my tongue. You know how you can...
Oh, no way.
A little bit spastic, and then you bite your tongue. Well, I've had to bite my tongue. So this is a lesson that I'm sharing with people, that, you know, when you start getting symptoms, you have to look and see, well, what caused them? What conflict is going on in my life that can cause physical symptoms? Because so much of what the FDA and doctors are calling disease is really the body giving you symptoms that are related to the contrast and conflict that are going on in your lives. And all we're doing with our dietary supplements is telling people to take the basic building blocks that will help support your healthy body. And anyway, I just wanted to start with that because I realized I haven't been talking to many people for the past week, so I wanted to make sure my voice was coming across. So I will leap in with some thoughts. First of all, here's my philosophy in relationships and in working with friends, family, patients, clients, and customers. Basically, I see the perfection in everyone. I see a person's potential and the possibilities. And one great example that I keep with me is when my foster son could have run wild with all the stresses and conflict of being a teenage orphan, I assured him that I would love him even if he was a mass murderer. Now he's a judge, and in his speech at his swearing in this February, he said that if it hadn't been for me and my unconditional love, he would be on the other side of the bench. So that's how I see, as I said, friends, family, patients, clients, and customers. I see you as healthy. And maybe you don't know that yet. Maybe your body does not know that yet. But what I'm offering with my dietary supplements are, as I said, the building blocks for a healthy body that your body is actually craving, but you may not be aware of it. And yes, we've lost sight of what a healthy body truly is. And I was going to say some of the following words, but they were said wonderfully in an email from a customer who's a doctor and who expresses exactly our current position. She says, we live in a society that focuses its attention almost exclusively on diseases. People are conditioned into needing a medical label to explain why their health is not good. The pharmaceutical industry and society in general have convinced us that we must take something to get rid of or suppress disease symptoms. The emphasis is on the outside world, bracket, i.e. the doctor, the supplement, the drug, bracket, to make things better. As you know, the ultimate reality is that no doctor, no supplement, no supplemental health program, no pharmaceutical drug heals us or makes us well. We are the only ones who can heal ourselves from any condition. The biggest difference is that often we become ill because some aspects within our body and mind are out of balance. Without homeostasis, we teeter between health and dis-ease. Food, exercise, stress reduction, nutritional supplements all contribute to improving the inner balance that we call health. This is really what your program is about and has always been about. With the warning letter from the FDA, you are being given that very different opportunity to really help people understand the nature of health and healing. You don't need to talk about the disease process. Actually, when the disease appears, the inner imbalance has been around for a long time. When you emphasize building health, you offer people the opportunity to see themselves differently and to take action toward building health from a different perspective. She continues, I've always loved the analogy of health and a bank account. My financial bank account is a balance between my money deposits and withdrawals. All of us know that. When my withdrawals are greater than my deposits, I'm in trouble financially. It's the same thing with health. I have a health bank account that also consists of creating a balance between deposits and withdrawals. The deposits consist of lifestyle features such as exercise, a healthy diet, strategies for stress reduction, nutrients from foods or targeted supplements, etc. The withdrawals include dealing with toxins in the air, water, foods, lack of sleep, stressors in our work and personal life, etc. Many of these withdrawals come erratically into our lives and are not within our control. but the deposits are usually something we can consciously make in adding to our health bank account. When I take the supplements you have developed, I'm increasing my bank balance. I am not only helping my current state of health and reducing the impact of future or present disease, but I am building a reserve that can help me get through periods when there are a lot of withdrawals. So I don't see the current limitations imposed by the FDA in what you can talk about with your patients and customers as limiting your contribution to others. It can be a real gift that enables people to really understand how to create that balance and health within themselves. I wish you well on the shift in your educational journey of others. Signed, Dr. Suzanne. So what do you think of that, Ginny?
Yeah, that's very beautiful and eloquent and right on every level. Mm-hmm. Very lovely letter.
Yeah, so I'll continue because, it's like Ginny said, there's so much response from people. And our good friend Bert wrote, and, Bert's a martial artist. I won't go into too much detail, but he said he had smoke coming out of his ears listening to last week's show. But what he said was, when the smoke cleared, he said, the word that popped into my mind was resilience. I was taught that the goal of the practice and study of Qigong is to develop a deep state of resiliency. You displayed a masterful display of resilience, which is a sign for those who have eyes to see that, quote, you are a masterful fighter, Dr. Dean. You are a true inspiration to me. I have always been healthy, but your wonderful complement products have allowed me to move beyond being healthy to becoming super resilient. I get confirmation of my super resiliency on Friday after my dental hygienist appointment. So then Bert talks about how his dentist and hygienist were wanting him to get an implant for a tooth, and when he, redact. So I thank Bert for his input. And yes, see, what we're redefining is health, and how people who take the products who start off being in fine health are actually developing this state, as Bert calls it, super resilience. Bob says, we open the doors and enlarge the horizon of what health is, of how healthy you truly can be. There is a tension and contrast in daily living, and our products help to deal with the natural stress and contrasts that are part of being and part of existence. Our products assuage your mind's paranoid interpretation of the shifts in your body that are inevitable. Eventually you feel so good you can understand what the wise ones say, that there are no negatives. Contrast and the cares of life grow strangely dim. And Reiner says, brilliant. What a win-win attitude you wonderful folks exhibit. Inspirational, motivational, astonishingly clear, and life-affirming. This is the Carolyn I've known and adored since 1980, always emphasizing the positive, healthy support of the personal awareness of your own body. Even when I speak with her by phone, I feel instantly, and I mean instantly, simultaneously better. So I am delighted by the reimagining, re-emphasizing, reaffirming, reinventing, redelivering, revitalizing, and not to mention a bit of resubverting, reboot, with unconditional love and support to you all. So this is where, when Reiner's saying that he gets inspired just talking to me, it is because I have the unconditional love aspect. It seems where I see the positive in Reiner and in everybody. We're redefining what healthy is. We're setting the bar so much higher. Redefining normal. At some point I'll go into how they say blood testing defines the norms, but it really doesn't. It just defines the averages. We've been trapped in the notion that we are not in charge of our bodies. We're told that if our bodies go through a shift, we should be afraid, be very afraid. Chad says, if you want to have health throughout your entire body, give your undivided attention to appreciating the part of you that is healthiest. For example, if your earlobe is perfect, spend your time appreciating the smoothness of your earlobe. That will direct your cellular replication toward perfection. So for those of you who are first-time listeners, a lot of this may appear to be all jumbled up, mumbo-jumbo, but what's happened is the FDA sent me and the company a warning letter saying that we're not allowed to say that our products can help with disease symptoms. Just a few words about it. The warning letter said they reviewed our RNA Reset website and determined that the claims on your website and personal testimonials recommending or describing the use of the products established that the products are drugs because they are intended for the use in the diagnosis, cure, mitigation, treatment, or prevention of disease. Your Remite, Realign, Remag, Restructure, and Recalcia are not generally recognized as safe and effective for the above referenced uses, and therefore the products are new drugs under the law. New drugs may not be legally introduced into interstate commerce without prior approval from the FDA on the basis of scientific data and information demonstrating that the drug is safe and effective. Prescription drugs can only be used safely at the direction and under the supervision of a licensed practitioner. So the drug testing they want is the million up to $1 billion testing that they do for a drug, which does not ensure that it's safe or effective, actually. So, in a nutshell, if magnesium deficiency produces a disease, then that disease must be treated with a drug prescribed by a doctor. And to treat that disease with magnesium or say you're treating it with magnesium is illegal. Also, a claim that a product is a substitute for a drug or other therapy for disease or has fewer side effects than a therapy for disease is an implied disease claim and therefore illegal. So bottom line is your health is entirely dependent on you. Nobody is in charge of keeping you healthy. Doctors don't learn about nutrients, so your health education is up to you as well. And we'll talk more about health on this show than we used to about disease, which entered into the conversation because a lot of the research on magnesium has that direction. Insurance companies aren't interested in keeping you healthy or keeping you living a long life. So for all these reasons, education is important. I'll tell people they can Google my name and their question, and I've written so much that's on the Internet that you can find some answers there. And getting my books and information is one of the ways that you can increase your knowledge, increase your information about your own body and how to stay healthy. A couple of other testimonials. This long-term customer who used to be a client said, about 4 years ago, January, I started on your RNA drops in magnesiums. I soon added Realign and Remite and have just added Recalcia last month. At almost 85, I feel a lot clearer-headed and frisky than I did at 80. So hurrah for the good work you are doing. So that's someone who's using the products to stay healthy. Another, I'm so healthy. Since you can't talk about magnesium deficiency symptoms, can you describe what magnesium does? the impact of magnesium on the cells, the muscles, the bones, etc. Describe the process from the direction of what a healthy cell looks like and how it performs. And yes, we will be doing that. Now, what Ginny put in her blog today was about the heart, and it becomes very difficult, actually, because anything to do with the heart implies disease. So I'm going to have to really figure out how to say words that don't get us into trouble, because bottom line is we want to keep supplying these products to people, because I, for one, I'm dependent on them. So and so are tens of thousands of other people. What I have in my Magnesium Miracle book about the heart is that the heart ventricles have the highest level of magnesium in the body. Another statement is about inflammation. Most drug companies are now embracing inflammation and not cholesterol as the cause of heart disease. They don't know what causes inflammation, but that doesn't stop them from producing drugs to suppress it. They don't acknowledge that calcium is extremely pro-inflammatory and magnesium is very anti-inflammatory. And another statement, investigators concluded that patients receiving proton pump inhibitors for heartburn and reflux should be followed closely for magnesium deficiency. By 2015, enough patients had been followed to conclude that hypomagnesemia induced by long-term treatment of proton pump inhibitors. That was the title of a study that they did, that low magnesium is induced by long-term treatment with proton pump inhibitors. Another 2015 study from researchers at Houston Methodist and Stanford University reported that adults who take proton pump inhibitors for heartburn are between 16% and 21% more likely to experience a heart attack than those who do not use this widely available acid blocker. Researchers claim they don't have a clue why there is this correlation between PPIs and heart attack. They're just reporting the statistics. So those are the basic comments from last week. Today we received some questions from our readership, but I'll go over to Ginny now and see if there's anything on the chat, or we could take some phone calls before we get to the mailbag. So over to you, Ginny.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Carolyn. We've got a couple questions that came in, one of which Nancy in Portland said, I hope the piece that Carolyn is reading can be posted on the website or somewhere. So, Carolyn, if you'll send that to me, I'll post it on tonight's radio show archive. It's the letter by the doctor that was originally the first one that you read. She said, I love what was sent by that doctor. It is something reassuring to read now and then. Love, Nancy. So if you can send that to me, I'll post it, Nancy, for you. And then our good friend Lilith in Montego Bay, Jamaica. Hello, Lilith, and thank you for your referrals. Lilith is constantly referring people to us, Carolyn. She has got so many people on these products. She's such a sweetheart. She says, please ask Dr. Dean to comment on Himalayan pink salt ingredients to include mercury, aluminum, and the others. Thanks. So, you know, sometimes people see the 72 trace minerals that are in pink Himalayan salt, and they see like arsenic or whatever, and then they think there's something bad going on. Can you talk about that?
Right. Yes, Lilith. I know when we started our first REMAG product, we had a 72 trace mineral component in it from a salt source, and with the FDA required that we list every ingredient, and the ingredients in dirt and rock and in the world do include aluminum and arsenic, etc. But in the very minute levels. And in fact, I mean, we say arsenic is poisonous and aluminum is poisonous, but when you study homeopathic theory, one of the statements in homeopathy is it's all about the dose. It's all about the amount. And when you have a homeopathic amount of arsenic, it can treat anxiety. When you have a homeopathic amount of aluminum, it can treat most conditions. So there's the dose is important, and what I'm saying about the sea salts is that the dose of the so-called toxic minerals and metals is so infinitesimally low, it could be called a homeopathic, but homeopathy is more defined by shaking up a substance in the presence of water. So basically, very tiny amounts. People have been using sea salt for millennia. Animals travel hundreds, if not thousands of miles to salt licks because they absolutely require these minerals. And why I'm so big on putting unrefined sea salt in drinking waters, because most drinking water is purified even at the water treatment plants, and then certainly at your own tap, but most people have water purifiers. And drinking water, so much of it is distilled or reverse osmosis, takes everything out. So we do have to replace our mineral, and that's why sea salt is important. So there's your answer.
Didn't Queen Victoria used to brush her teeth with arsenic so her immune system would become empowered by it in case somebody tried to poison her?
Yeah, it was more to protect her from poisoning where her body could tolerate arsenic. There's a whitener in, is it arsenic that produces a whitening of the skin, or they used to use mercury and all different things, but yeah, we're not going to go that far.
Right, but I mean, I'm saying, with the way that we've gotten so concerned about things, because it's almost like if one person gets it, then everybody's got it kind of a thing. But really, you can, like you said, homeopathically build up your tolerance to things too.
No, it's not so much that. It's just that we haven't studied tiny doses of arsenic and aluminum to know maybe we need them. I mean, the study of nutrients was really big in the 50s, and the more that drugs took over, the less they were studying nutrients. So we really don't have a clue what all these nutrients can do for us, and that's partly why it's been ignored, and doctors just don't get involved with researching it or studying it. They just think, you get all your minerals in your food, and then again, they haven't checked in with agriculture to learn that the soil is depleted of minerals. So that's where we have important information about minerals and how much the body needs them, but you have to take minerals that are well absorbed.
Right, very good. Absolutely. And only if you're healthy.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's see. Another thing is Gina typed in and said, I've just received my order of Remag and Remite. What other ways can I take these other than adding water to them and sipping them throughout the day? So Sun City said, I'm just going to say, so Sun City said, fill a shot glass and throw them back down your throat. And somebody on the chat line said that. What do you think, Carolyn?
Yeah, you can mix them in food, mix them in juices, get a essential oil to take away some of the bitter taste. But yeah, we get people actually, as you I don't know if we're able to put out any literature about how to take them anymore, but we tell people to put their dose in a liter of water and sip that through the day. If I take my half teaspoon in the morning, I might put it in 8 ounces of water, and you can hardly taste it. There's even a sweetness to the water. Some people will spray it on their skin, the Remag and the Remite, but I don't know if we're allowed to say that because that's transdermal use. So you'll have to experiment and come up with your own options and devices, or Google that question and my name.
Right, very good. Yeah, that's interesting about transdermal because I think that's why once it goes through the skin, it becomes a medical device. Isn't that something we learned in the letter we got?
Mm-hmm. Apparently so. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I use mine on my hair. I love it.
On your hair? How?
Yeah, so it could be a cosmetic, I guess. When I get out of the shower, when I'm done washing my hair and everything, I take some Remag, I put it in my hands, and I massage it into my scalp, and it just keeps my hair so soft and also shiny, mineral shiny, like, yeah.
Oh, that's sweet. Very good.
Yeah, it's very fun. Okay, let's see. I hope there's nothing wrong with that. I don't know. It's cosmetic. It's cosmetic. It's all about me and my vanity. Okay, let's see. What else do we need to say? Gina says, what are the RNA drops all about?
You can answer that while I clip that statement by Suzanne for you.
Okay, very good. I would say that the RNA drops are about health, vitality, and well-being, and happy and ready for more. That's as a matter of fact, the RNA drops really are called the Relax and Allow drops. That's what RNA stands for, Relax and Allow. And the idea behind the drops came when Dr. Dean started to make a water purifier. The water purifier had, in this process of making this water purification system that was organic in nature, it had a cast-off, and that cast-off was that the people who were working around it started to have dramatically improved health. And so she started to look at that. We can't say that.
We could.
Oh, yeah, because they were healthy.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't sick. Yeah, they were just having more, like faster growing hair and nails and smoother skin that was already smooth, and already energetic people who were getting more energy. And so then Carolyn was like, okay, well, let's see what we can do with this. And the way that it's made is kind of homeopathic in nature, except we call it generational. So the one generation builds on another and another and another, and it carries a resonance forward with it. So we can't make any claims about the drops for sure because they're a very unique substance. But they have been around for 5 years, and there's a lot of people who seem to like them. So that's what we can say about that. Right, Carolyn?
Right, and because we can't say too much more about them, we do offer a small size at a very low cost that people can purchase to try them out, because actually, rather than buying a lot of products just based on information and hype, it is good to try a substance to see if it works. We know that when people take our minerals and our realign, certainly our restructure as well, they feel better for it. They feel the difference. So that's what we depend on for repurchase. We're not just interested in you purchasing one time. We know that you'll appreciate the benefits long term. So we want our products to work, and they do. So purchase one of the what do we call them, Ginny? Sample bottles, or
trial Trial size.
Trial
Yep,
size.
it's 90 drops. 90 drops in a trial size bottle, and it's 90 drops, 1 to 3 drops for the first 30 days. So it'll last you 30 days. And within that period of time, you'll know if you want to order them again and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
Perfect.
That's the way we all did it, huh, Carolyn?
That's true. Yes, we started out that way, exactly. And
yep, none of us knew what we were doing. We're just like, hey, let's try this. And then we're like, okay. And then it's like, wow, this is fun. And just the energy alone on it was just fantastic. And, all those other kinds of fun things. So, yeah, very good stuff. Okay, let's see. Now, what does this say? Kathy says, Dr. Dean, I'm getting my order of Remag this week, and I'm wondering if I have to discontinue taking Mag citrate that I take now. I take the citrate for the laxative effect. Can we answer that?
No, you'll see if you Google that question, you would see that I say keep taking everything the way you've always taken it, and drugs or supplements. We never tell people to come off anything. And then what you'll find is as you slowly build up your Remag that your magnesium citrate may have too much of a laxative effect for you. I'm not saying that anything's curing you, but one of the effects of too much of the other magnesiums can be diarrhea. So you would adjust yourself and maybe wean off the magnesium citrate if you don't need it for the purpose that you're taking it for. And
very good.
That could be said of any symptoms, any supplements, any medications. But the FDA doesn't like us to say that supplements are replacing medications. So I won't go any further.
Very good. Yes, very good. Excellent. Okay, now let's see. Where are we here with the telephone calls? Let's see. 602-666-6027 is the number to call and talk to Dr. Dean. Now, people wrote me last week and said that they called in and they had their hand raised and they were jumping up and down on their bed and wanting to talk to Dr. Dean, and I didn't call on them. I swear. I call on everybody whose hands are raised unless I say, I'm sorry, we ran out of time, and then please do this. But please, if you're calling, hit *5 on your keypad if you want to talk to Dr. Dean, *5 on the keypad of your phone. And if I don't call on you, please just type into the chat line and say, hey, Ginny, I'm at area code 315, and I'm waiting to talk to Dr. Dean. And then I'll put you right on the phone with her, so it's not a problem at all. Okay. So phone calls for Dr. Dean tonight, 602-666-6027. And if we don't have anybody who has any comments or suggestions, we will press on with our other important topics this evening. Let's see. Okay, no raised hands so far, Carolyn.
Very good. Okay, here's a question that came in after today's email blog from Ginny about healthy heart. The comment in question, some people recommend more of a paleo diet to help the heart. Now, that's an interesting sentence there. Does that mean the paleo people who recommend a paleo diet for the heart are practicing medicine without a license and treating diet like it's a drug? I mean, these are questions that should be coming up. But anyway, others believe only a plant-based diet is the healthiest diet, especially for the heart. So how is a person supposed to tell which one is right for their heart? What happens? Okay, so let me answer that. I think what I began to do in the beginning of my practice was look at the blood type diet. Now, it's another generalization, but it helped me sort things out a bit. Because I'm an O blood type, and O's seem to need more animal protein. And certainly every time I've tried to do a vegetarian or a vegan or a raw or a macrobiotic diet, I would not feel well. I would get sick. So when I eat meat and salad or chicken and salad or fish and salad and nuts and seeds and not much else, I feel the best. So for me, the old type diet worked. And, what most practitioners do is they support what works for them. But the way the blood type diet discusses the different blood types is A's and ABs seem to be better on a vegetarian diet. B's can flip back and forth between animal protein and vegetarian. So I just tell people to experiment and see where they feel best. You cannot just go to a book and say, oh, this is the diet for me. I mean, all these books, everything, I'm a writer, so when we write, we're all enthusiastic and it looks good and sounds good. The biggest books on sale on Amazon are diet books. Every couple of months, I get bumped from the top slot of the vitamins and supplements section of Amazon. I'm usually number 1 or 2. I'll be bumped by a diet book every couple of months, and then it'll fade out. And people are just desperate for the diet that will help them. The diet that will help you is the one that you feel good on. And this is back to us talking about do what's good to make your body healthy, and try to figure it out for yourself. So look at your blood type, read a bit about the blood type diet. You can go online and find a lot of information about it and just try it out. With both diets, though, you do have to look at minerals, because if it's a plant-based diet, you can still develop a lot of mineral deficiencies because the soil may not be, for the most part, the soil is very empty of minerals. A paleo diet, high in protein, needs more magnesium, for one thing, in order to help metabolize. The writer goes on to say, what happens to the plaque that may be in someone's arteries if they start a paleo diet? Well, I don't know that answer. I don't know if anyone knows that answer, but a paleo diet. Now, let me see. Get straight here. Paleo diet and dairy. The place of dairy in a paleo diet. Dairy is a paleo gray area food. Some people advocate it. Other people advise against it. And that's why I had to question it, because dairy is very high in protein, and a lot of people say, certainly in the ketogenic diet, the high-fat diet, that's the rage right now. That was the rage 30 years ago when I was in practice, and the keto diet is very high in dairy because it's also high in fat, but it's also high in calcium. If you're eating a lot of calcium-rich foods, you can build up plaque in your arteries that isn't really just a cholesterol plaque. It is more about calcification, and we're knowing and learning that even more because if you've heard of the coronary calcium scans, I've written about that. If you want to look up coronary, I think it's just called coronary calcium score. There's a coronary calcium score that people are talking about. I've written about it in the Magnesium Miracle book that's out in August. You really have to get that book if you want to be on top of what I can't tell you. So coronary calcium scans are getting more and more play these days. There's more and more about them because they identify the plaque in the arteries as being a buildup of calcium. There's no treatment for it medically. We do know that magnesium and calcium balance one another out. When you don't have enough magnesium, you get more calcium buildup. So the plaque that might be in someone's arteries on a paleo diet, it kind of depends on how much dairy and calcium is in their diet, and whether or not they have enough magnesium in their diet to counteract that in their diet or in supplements. And she goes on, the plant-based doctors say only their vegan plant-based diet will help remove plaque and keep the heart healthy. Not the case if your plant-based diet is low in magnesium. So it's not the plant so much, it's the minerals in the plants that do the work. A lot of herbal therapies work because of the minerals in the plant. So it really is about the minerals, and that's why we say our minerals, why our minerals, Remag, Remite, and Recalcia, and the refined sea salt in the water will be what your body is craving as the building blocks for your cells. So there's the answer for Mary. Anything from you, Jenny, while I go and get some water?
Yes, let me just read here a couple where it says, hello, I just got the Remag tonight. I understand I will be sipping it throughout the day. If I finish it by noon, is that drinking it too fast? And James, you just kind of missed that part of the show where we talked about all the different options. But no, you're fine. Some people do just put it in 8 ounces of water and drink a half a teaspoon in the morning. So the main thing that Carolyn's always concerned about is hydration. You know, a lot of people who are healthy in part because they're very well hydrated. And hydration is a key to good health. So we're always trying to encourage health and hydration, and that's one of the reasons we kind of go with that. But you're fine if you get done by noon. That's not a problem. That's not a problem. Okay, let's see, where else are we here? I think that's good. I think that caught us up. And let me check my phone. Nobody wants to talk to Carolyn tonight. How bizarre. That's so random. Usually everybody wants to. Or
maybe they can't get through. There might be some
No, there's raising hands. There's hands. I knew there were people here. I had to refresh my screen. Okay, should we take some phone calls? Are you ready for a phone call?
Sure.
Okay, let's go out to 815, the great state of Illinois. You're on the line with Dr. Dean. Go ahead, please. Give us your name and then state your question or comment.
This is Dr. Paulette Trum, and hopefully I can make this so it doesn't get redacted. But my mother is 89, and when we vacationed in Puerto Vallarta in January, I mean, I was really sad and frightened for her because she just looked frail. She was afraid to walk up the stairs because she couldn't walk up the stairs. She couldn't walk down the stairs. She was too weak. She told me the other day that her fingernails are growing so hard she can barely cut them. Her hair is growing out now, and she walks up and down her stairs now and hardly thinks of it. And when I saw her over the 4th of July to help her celebrate 90 years of being on the planet, she just looks better. Her hair is indeed growing out. She's got a shine, in her eyes shine. She sparkles, and she doesn't look frail anymore.
Oh.
What's
90. She taking, Dr. Paulette?
She's taking. She's kind of weird about her money, so she really didn't want to take much other than the Remag and the Remite and the Realign.
That's good.
But she did figure out herself that this is cheaper than all of the boxes and boxes and boxes of supplements she'd been taking before, trying to fix all kinds of things that never got fixed. She pretty much doesn't complain about them anymore. She used to be one of those old people that was always worried about, well, should we say, whether she could go to the bathroom or not. I haven't heard her talk about that in months. It's wonderful.
Well, that's a disease, so we have to redact that statement. But
I didn't say she had that.
Oh, yes, you're right.
She went to the bathroom often.
Very
careful.
Yeah. Oh, isn't that fantastic? Because, like you say, you just can't help but worry, what's next, what's going to happen. And when they perk up like that, it is a miracle.
And for myself, I don't know if there's any other way to say it. I don't get leg cramps anymore, but leg cramps, as far as I know, was never a disease. It was just uncomfortable.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
And I take all the products.
Yeah. Good for you.
Except I can't figure out what to do with Renew, so I still have that. But I'm sure eventually I'll figure out
what to do. What to do with
what?
Renew.
The Renew serum.
Well,
more concentrated RNA, right?
That's right. I mean, is it a cosmetic, Ginny? We have to be careful what we say. I mean,
yes, I was just thinking today, I was reading the cosmetic guidelines, and I actually do think it's a cosmetic.
Well, it's cosmetic because it says don't eat it. Well, I don't know if it says don't eat it, but it says put it on, I don't know, put it on your skin like a face cream. Put it on freckles.
Yes.
Freckles aren't a disease.
Yeah, any bit of you that you want to be healthier on your skin, and I don't know if you could put it on mucous membranes. I know maybe I went off label when I bit my tongue and rubbed it on gum and tongue things, and we've heard people talk about that. But yeah, it's we've had people talk about rubbing it all kinds of different places, but again, we can't really talk about that.
But I do have a question. It has rose oil in it, and it has olive oil, and I'm assuming that they're both food grade, because you wouldn't want to put anything on your skin that you wouldn't be willing to eat. At least that's my philosophy.
Yes, that's right. Yes, they are food grade, absolutely.
So I don't use sunscreen. I'm not willing to eat it.
There is a
and
sunscreen.
I do recommend these products for health for my clients, and those that have been willing to listen are all reporting positive health.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you so much.
You. And I'm very concerned. I want you to get the reference. The last time I checked your website on how much or what type of magnesium does Dr. Carolyn recommend. You mentioned it treats AFib. Please take that off. I don't want the FDA to shut you down.
Okay. Ginny, make a note. Thank you, Dr. Paulette, for taking the time to call in. Really appreciate it. Bye-bye. Say hi to your mom for me.
All righty, I will.
Okay, bye-bye.
Another month. Okay, bye-bye.
Excellent. What a lovely call.
Yeah, it was a bit difficult to hear. I think I should put my hearing aid in. I think my good hearing might be blocked. Okay.
You're afraid of what you're going to hear next. There you go.
Oh, my gosh. There you go.
Although you're not afraid. No, we're not afraid at all. We're just being silly. We have to, what do they say? When you're laughing, you're learning. So that's what you say, Carolyn.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah,
we're still having a good time. And I think, it's kind of more scary for our customers, but, and we've had so many questions like this, and, I don't want to voice it too much, but, don't be afraid of your products. We'll do everything we can to keep them on your shelf. So,
we'll be
the
fine.
thing of it is, we still don't know, how we're going to promote and advertise since we can't. And we do, like Dr. Paulette, she's telling her patients about it and got her family on it. We've reached a tipping point where people are listening. People have been taking them for years. They're looking better, feeling better, and maybe it's time to jump on the bandwagon and say, look, you've got to take these products because nobody else is going to take care of you, and we do need healthy people out there to keep the word going. Is there a better way of saying what I'm trying to say, Ginny?
Well, I think, I think what you're saying is just perfect. I mean, we do have a great, marketing team and everything else like that. I mean, Chad's amazing. We've always been successful in everything we do. And we've been successful in getting the word out, unfortunately, because, basically we are a disease-preoccupied society. Mm-hmm. And people are listening to that crap through their television 24 hours a day. I mean, you can't even be going down the road. You can't be watching TV unless you're watching HBO or Netflix or something without being inundated with pharmaceutical commercials suggesting that if you have this one thing wrong with you, you need these drugs. And so we just, are in a situation now where we get to take the high road and remind people that, yes, we have extraordinary products. They're of the highest quality. And people are figuring out what can be done with them now. And we're just going to have to stick to that script. And also we do get a ton of referrals from our customers and just, encourage them to continue to do the same thing. They'll just have to be a little bit more vocal because we have to be less vocal. But they already know what we're talking about, and we know what they're talking about too. Okay, now let me just say we're coming up to the top of the hour, Carolyn, so take a break. And then we'll come back and continue our conversation. An hour 2, live with Dr. Carolyn Dean coming up, everybody. We'll be right back.
We'll be back with Hour 2 of Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean, along with host Ginny Gunther, after this brief station break. You can also get updates and resources online by visiting drcarolyndean.com.
Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is achieveradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/achieveradio.
AchieveRadio.com. What a beautiful day to be alive. My debt is paid and more money arrives. The fridge is full and there's plenty of ice for a fireside chat with anyone I like. What a beautiful day, good to be here when almost everyone has disappeared. When almost everyone is waiting in line, it's good to meet you in this world of mine.
This product is only for ascending people.
Mm-hmm.
Not for unhealthy people, not people who are sick, not people who got all these problems.
We're not here to cure anything. We're not here to help anything. We're not trying to do anything. We're not trying to make you happy. We're not trying to prove your happiness. We're not trying to see that you're whether or not you're happy. We're not here that this product was not created for your benefit, for your pleasure, or for your enjoyable delightment. It's not for that. It's only for the ascending.
me. Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean, hour 2, here on achieveradio.com this Monday evening, which is June 17th. Just a quick reminder or an announcement, we won't be here next, not June, July. July 24th, Dr. Dean will be traveling that evening, and so we will be not here live, but just to make sure everybody knows in advance, no concern when we're not here. It's just because we're traveling, and we already knew we wouldn't be here. And apparently ION already knew we would be here because they were already talking about the fact that we cannot claim any benefit for our products. They're only created for the ascended or ascending, which are people in ION's view that are full of power, connected to their power, and capable of making choices from their place of knowing, not a person who has to be convinced that something's going to be helpful for their health, but somebody who knows this is what I require and I'm going to take action to achieve it. So, yes, I think it's a very good little clip we play there, Carolyn. Welcome back, hour 2. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I had my little drink of sea salted water. I had lots of thoughts rolling around in the head about the show and what we can talk about. And if people keep asking me questions, for example, the next question that came in the mailbag was, how important is it for us to push ourselves when exercising for our heart? And this woman says, I walk an hour a day and take 5 yoga classes a week, but I don't walk fast. For the heart, is it best to walk at a fast pace? Also, Carolyn, you mentioned, I believe, that ideally you like to work out 3 hours a day. Me too, when I have the energy, which I do now more and more. What is your workout schedule like, and what do you do to maintain upper and lower body strength? All the best. So that's a good health question. And, this whole business of athletics got me and Ginny and Chad talking a little while ago about athletes and people who want to stay healthy. They can overdo it. You may have heard of this exercise called CrossFit, where people actually exercise to the point of throwing up, as if that's a marker for how much they're able to push their bodies. What Bob says is, and I probably won't say it as obviously as well as he could, but with our 5 bodies and with a big focus on our chip and TV body, when we think about our physical body, then we tend to overdo it and try to make up for lost time. People who smoke, for example, they see nothing wrong with smoking, and then they'll exercise a little more to try to undo the smoking, as if that's possible. Or people will eat a lot of carbs and sugars, and then instead of being anorexic or bulimic and vomiting up that food, they'll over-exercise to try to burn off those calories. So there's this imbalance, like Dr. Suzanne said, there's a homeostasis that we have to attend to in our bodies that is as important as, doing the right nutrients and diet and exercise. We can overdo any of these things. I'm back to, because I've had this congestion, I've just been doing an hour and a half walk. I do tend to walk fast. I haven't been swimming. I don't want to affect my ears. I have been doing stretching. So for me, I do my walking, do the half-hour swim, try to do a half-hour more of stretching. And to me, I don't overdo it. I don't push myself. Maybe 3 hours a day is not what I'm doing anymore. I think I was doing that and just feeling all giddy that I was able to do 3 hours a day or able to have the time to do 3 hours a day. I wasn't taxed by doing it, but I did find that if I walked for 2 hours, my feet got sore. And when I did my cross-country trip to visit our manufacturing plant, and I didn't exercise for those 3 weeks except, I would walk at Ginny's with Ginny and the dogs. I found that maybe by contrast, by comparison, I was walking too much, too fast, kind of pounding a bit too much. So, again, it's, you try some things and then you cut back or you increase or decrease. We're always going in stages and cycles. So that's my workout schedule, maintaining upper and lower body strength. When I walk, I will maybe half of the days carry 1 3-pound weight and just do arm curls and different arm exercises. And certainly the swimming does upper and lower body. So that's basically what I do. I recommend to people to just do it in balance. Don't try to make exercise the antidote for, quote, bad behavior. And, when you're sweating, you're losing magnesium and other minerals, so be sure to rehydrate with your sea salted water and take your minerals. So that's that. I just have one more question, so I'll leave that and go to Ginny to see if there's anything on the chat or any phone calls.
I just want to say, do you feel that you were overdoing it when you were walking with us, with the dogs and me?
Oh, no.
Oh, good. I was going to say.
Are you kidding? Those silly dogs, they stop every few minutes. And
I was going to say, that's hardly walking. It's more like crawling. They're busy chasing squirrels and looking for balls.
Yeah.
And, good Lord, exactly. Okay, very good. Let's see, where are we here? Yes, we have phone call. 602-666-6027 is the number to call if you have a question or comment for Dr. Dean tonight. And I'm going to go to area code 602 here, the great state of Arizona. 602, you're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Is that me?
That's you.
Oh, hi. I can never tell. Well, I just have a couple things to say. For one, isn't it amazing that all these drug commercials can advertise whatever they want, and most of them will probably kill you before they heal you. And then on the healthy side, and you're not telling everybody all the time, like all this protocol on TV does, that now you're going to be scrutinized, and you probably should have realized that anyway, because the oils, remember how the oils are being scrutinized too?
Essential oils. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I was going to say is they had to end up there, and just so that everybody doesn't freak out, because we're just in another world. People have to be real and take responsibility what's going on in the world, and a lot of it is just money. And so they've got to decide, what's right for them. Mm-hmm. And try it out, because everybody's mind's different, their emotions different. I mean, you're just talking about, magnesium and stuff, but that's only part of what goes on in our bodies, right? Mm-hmm. So I was just saying, all the essential oils, they had to just revamp. They're still out there. They're doing it. They just have to curb it. And on their websites, they have to just, they've got attorneys that are, they, kind of coordinate with the FDA, and they tell you the language and the lingo, but it's not stopping them from doing what they need to do. Because I think the doctors, don't you think, Carolyn, that, if the doctors want to stay in business, they're going to have to start putting their head in another place. It's just not all on traditional medicine anymore, because people are getting too smart, because it's killing them more than helping them.
Yeah, it's an interesting time, because all we hear about the doctors now is they have burnout and they're not happy in what they're doing, and they are stuck in the HMO system, and they don't like the 5-minute appointments. But just like we're stuck with the FDA guarding supplements, the doctors have stuck themselves into the basket of HMOs, and I don't think that's going to change. Anytime I've seen doctors try to open, alternative health clinics, even Andy Weil and his people, it just doesn't work out because there's not enough money in spending an hour with the patient when you really need to spend that hour. So I don't think it's going to shift too much. I think, like you said, it's definitely up to the individual to make their own individual choice and not be dependent on their doctor, because it's the doctor certainly has no education on essential oils and thinks that nutrients are drugs. That's what's been drummed into them. And when you look at the language about dietary supplements, it's in Canada, actually, they put the supplements into a drug category up there and decimated the supplement industry. Same happened in New Zealand and in Europe. I think similar things have happened where Codex Alimentarius said we have to, define what's being shipped across borders in terms of food and dietary supplements. So that started the whole thing. It's part of the free trade. I don't know if it's going to shift with Trump stopping the whole free trade escapade. And I don't know if there is a solution. How there are, and we know, from personal experience from our former distributor, that anybody can sell a product and say anything they want about it. And how do you regulate that sort of industry? So just like the essential oil people, we'll curb our language and stay within the guidelines and do all, as we have done, do all the testing and everything of our products and make them safe. And, hopefully the FDA, instead of just, attacking websites, will look at the manufacturing of some of these companies where they have no certificate of analysis and they are making these things in their basement. But anyway, enough of a rant there.
Well, I just wanted to say, because the thing about it is they want everybody to be afraid. I mean, and so you can't be afraid. You'll just have to figure out how to deal with the FDA. And when so many people are benefiting from these products, you're just going to have to, probably market a little differently. But it'll be fine. People just have to not be so scared. But I have a question, just real quick. All of a sudden, and I know that I have probably a candida and a sugar issue, but that's my thing, and I know that. But all of a sudden, seems like the veins, like in my legs and my feet, they've always been heavier since even when I was little, more prominent. But now they're getting more so, and so I'm all still on the Remag. It's hard for my body to, unless I need to drink more water, I don't know. I can't take as much of it. So I've been trying to do it more like over the skin, putting it on the skin. Is that transdermal? Right. Do you know what that is? Is it circulation or?
In my Future Health Now encyclopedia, I don't know about your condition. I'll just talk about what's in the encyclopedia.
Yeah, fine. I understand.
The bioflavonoids, the vitamin C complex, is very important for the strength and stability of the small capillaries and the veins. So that's something that you should really look into. your intake of vitamin C and vitamin C complex.
Okay, and actually, you know what? That's one thing I probably haven't heard and I have not addressed. So thank you. I will try that. But anyway, thank you so much for everything you guys do, and please don't ever be afraid, because that's what the pharmaceutical world wants everybody to do, is shut down and for the world to be sick all the time. Just, it's crazy. Mm-hmm. Thanks for listening.
Yes. Oh, thank you for phoning. Great call. Appreciate it.
Excellent. Very good. Thank you. Oh, thank you very much. Okay, excellent. 602-666-6027 is the number to call if you want to talk to Dr. Dean tonight. Again, you've got to hit *5 on your keypad to raise your hand and let us know if you have any comments or anything you'd like to share or anything you'd like to say to Dr. Dean, which I think everybody should want to talk to her at least 3,000 or 4,000 times in their life. Okay, let's see. Anything else? I think we're good. I caught up on the chat line, and where are we phone calls? I think we're good. Oh, let me refresh my screen. Let's see where we're at with that. Okay, we're good for now. So what shall we do next?
Okay, so another question, 218, can we get all the magnesium we need in our diets? I think she's saying I eat lots of organ meats, veggies from our garden, sea salt and water. Is that just as good as taking magnesium? Do we have to take supplements forever? Thanks. Well, I guess enough studies have been done showing that, up to 80% of the population is not even getting the RDA of magnesium, which is set very low. Organ meats require you to, I don't know that they're high in magnesium, but they require you to have more magnesium in order to process them. Veggies from the garden, if you have, if you're using a lot of minerals in the garden, then the veggies could be high in minerals. Sea salt does not have enough magnesium, in my opinion. I guess what a person, I was going to say get a magnesium RBC test, but then you have to explain to people that 80% of the population that takes those tests is low anyway. So when you get a test and it says you're in the range, then that's the range of people who are deficient in magnesium, according to U.S. Department of Agriculture and other research facilities. So I don't think we can get enough magnesium in our diets. I can't tell a person to look at their magnesium deficiency symptoms, or can I? Yeah, try to find out what your magnesium deficiency symptoms are and do a test. See if your magnesium deficiency symptoms go away when you take Remag, and then you'll know. If we had the ionized magnesium test, we might be further ahead, but since the research in nutrients has been so unforthcoming, we really don't even know how to test for magnesium deficiency. So that's what I have to say there, and I have to take a drink. You go ahead, Ginny, with whatever you can do.
I did want to say that we did get some great emails from our customers, and some of them you didn't even get to see yet because they've been all locked up in my little email box. I was busy today. But the one thing that I want to say about all this is, because a lot of people are tuning into the radio show to get the latest information, she says, sorry, I heard about the issue with the FDA, and I just wanted to say I'm so sorry. I trust your Remag and Remind, and I would be devastated if I couldn't get a hold of it anymore. And this is the thing that I need you to know. You're always going to get a hold of Remag and Remind. And this is why we're doing what we're doing and being so open about it, because we're not hiding anything. And we are explaining the total and abrupt shift in our presentation of information because we are complying with the FDA at the highest level. And even though philosophically we may not agree with it, because this is the land of the free and the home of the brave, we are entitled to not agree. We don't have to agree. We don't have to agree with everything. And but what we do have to do is we have to comply. And so we are complying 100%. And if you go look at our website right now, it doesn't look anything like the website you would have seen 3 weeks ago. We've taken down all of our testimonials. We've changed all of our language, and it's very clean, and it focuses only on the quality and the performance of the formulas themselves. So you don't have to have any fear about that, any fear. And then, we can be in our own conversation and in a good conversation about, what is, the well-meaningness, let's say, of the FDA to want to protect the citizens of the United States from maybe thinking they're getting bamboozled or hoodwinked or something like that by people. We do know that there are disreputable companies that will, promise, different things that are not attainable. And if they take a certain type of a product, I think of, branched-chain amino acids and different things, gain 18 inches in your right forearm in 3 minutes, this kind of business. So, yes, absolutely. They have to be, we have this thing for a reason. And then we know how well-meaning we are, and we kind of got caught up a little bit in it, but that's okay because we are well-meaning and we are credible and we do have amazing products and we are committed to our customers. We'll just comply and do what we need to do, and then we're just going to keep going. So please do not have any fear. Everything is well and getting weller. And Carolyn. Last week, I have to make a public apology to Deborah West. Last week, she was on the thingy. She called in. She had her hand up for hours. She was jumping up and down on the bed, and I didn't see it, apparently. And, of course, being the sister that she is to me, she accused me of, wanting to steal her boyfriend or whatever. I mean, just like trying to keep her off the radio. I'm like, oh, for God's sake. But she did, so I said, well, call in tonight. She couldn't call in. But she sent me a great radio clip of back in February of 2015, February 15th, 2015, on a payday show where Ion was talking about the fact that there would come a time where the only people who would call into the radio show would be talking about health. Mm-hmm. And that they could only focus on wellness and well-being because those were the only things that were going to work, and that was the others were just not going to be allowed to have a voice. Isn't that wild? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's been foretold, I guess. So since it was already in the works and we already, had this kind of awareness that, yes, we would have to make this shift at some point, and we've been thinking about it. Just don't worry about it. Everything is fine. And we're just going to continue to reinvent ourselves.
Very good. Yes. Yes. So, in terms of how to conduct the show, I mean, we've done an hour and a half, and we've answered questions. I've had a bit of an introduction, but there are so many ways we can go from here. I can go into my Future Health Now, or what's it called, Completement Now, 2-year online wellness program, and highlight some of the modules. I can look through my Magnesium Miracle book and highlight aspects about magnesium. Like a previous letter writer said, talk about magnesium itself and the importance of magnesium. So there are many ways that we could develop the show, and the questions that have been asked so far, the letters and the callers, I mean, there's so much information kind of clogging up in my head. You just have to ask me a question, and, I might be able to come up with a different way of answering that will highlight the aspect of staying healthy and not getting trapped into a disease mode. I know with the Completement Now 2-year online wellness program, my intent was to write about health, to give people a description of diet, sleep, stress, all the different lifestyle aspects. I had 7 of them. Nutrients were in there as well, but superfoods were in there. And for me, it was to give people information so they could take charge of their health. I think I really got diverted when the economy crashed and then people began to say, I don't have time to read your modules, just tell me what to do. And that was around the time, as Jenny was saying earlier, that the RNA drops, we were trying to make a water purifier, and that turned into the RNA drops product. At that time, I was trying to find a manufacturer for making a concentrated non-laxative magnesium, and that came to the forefront, and it became kind of obvious that we had to create a product line to help people through this, very stressful transition. And it was about the stress. It was knowing that magnesium is completely necessary for stress. So anyway, that's what we're doing. That's our focus. And maybe I'll just ask Ginny if there are no questions or no phone calls or no chats, if she has any health questions she'd like me to answer.
Yes, I think, well, let's see. We don't really have any chat other than I just will tell you kind of June is sending us. Now, this is a standard thing that we would do, Carolyn, and I don't know how you want to do that because it says, has anyone heard that magnesium causes rectal bleeding? For some reason, Ginny isn't reading my question. I use Remag, and I want to know if I need to be concerned about that. And, in customer service, when people used to write in those kind of emails, we would always write them back and say, please send us the article and the medical citation where you saw this information being given out. Because if there's a medical citation, Dr. Dean can respond as a doctor. But we can't address every single rumor that swirls around on the Internet about, but what happens to people, And so I guess the thing to me is how can we let people find the accurate information? Like, for example, I've never even heard of that. Have you, Carolyn?
No, of course not, except what can happen is people perhaps, see, I like Ginny's saying, I have no idea where this information comes from. I have to, put on my intuitive psychic cap, and I would just say, well, magnesium citrate is used in very high doses as a bowel purge before colonoscopy. So
wow.
It's possible that someone who already has hemorrhoids or even, a bleeding polyp in their intestines, if they do a purge or, just take a lot of magnesium for constipation or whatever, they could be irritating that polyp or just opening up the rectal fissure or the hemorrhoid, and there's your blood. But it has nothing to do with the magnesium we're talking about in terms of it just being a supplement to your diet. The purging with 3,000 milligrams of magnesium is, pretty harsh on the intestines. So people will read that and, make all kinds of assumptions, and it's just, that inborn fear that we've been led to be afraid of any symptoms we have.
Right. I mean, that's a good thing to discuss. Maybe we can talk about that. I know next week we're taking a break. There goes my dog. Hold on. I know next week we're taking a break, but, maybe the following week we can do something on mental health. How to keep your mind from running amok and, going 50 million miles an hour over things that, we just can't be afraid, of every little thing, because our body does have healthy responses and it knows how to correct it. Also, one of the things that June wanted to know about too is this whole business about saunas. How do you feel about saunas and taking saunas and using saunas for maintaining your health?
Well, the thing about saunas is they make you sweat, and if you're not using your sea salted water and your magnesium and your multiple minerals to replace those minerals, then you will become depleted. So there's a fine line there. I know.
What's the idea behind saunas anyway?
Exactly.
Like, why do people even do them?
Statement.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Sorry.
Yeah. Saunas, and people don't know this necessarily, saunas cause heat shock. So the heat shock of increasing the temperature of your body kind of resets something in your body. It creates a physical stress that then supposedly your body adjusts to it, or dumps toxins, or tries to go into a mode of like I said, resetting to survive the heat shock. So it is a stressor. It really is a stressor on the body. But at the same time, I mean, I credit doing frequent saunas when I was in my internship with, kind of relaxing or something. I mean, it was just something that I was doing for my body while I was under this extreme stress. But what's happened with saunas is it's very sick people, very complex cases that are often told, well, you should detox and you should do saunas and you should do all this. And I've had patients and clients come to me and say, well, I did all this detoxing and these saunas and I feel worse. And those can be the people who just are so minerally depleted to begin with, and then you do sauna and you sweat more and you deplete your minerals even more. So I have concerns about saunas, just like I have concerns about, doing bowel purges and doing liver detox, the lemon juice or grapefruit juice and oil. What oil do they use for the liver purge, liver gallbladder purge? Olive oil. And all these purges, I mean, that's where, I don't really focus on detoxification to much of an extent, except with the realign, gently letting the body have the building blocks for its own detoxification, because all these purges are way too much. So, not in favor of saunas is my answer.
Very good. Excellent. Yes, I've never done those. Probably one of the very few things I haven't tormented myself with. So I'm very pleased now that I didn't do that to myself. Okay, now let's see because God only knows I've done just about everything else. Okay, now let's see. Let's go to a few phone calls, Carolyn. Let's go out to area code 315, the great state of New York. You're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Yes. Excuse me. Hi, this is Karen, and I have called before. And my question is about food, adding some foods back in after being on doing the yeast detox protocol for like the last 3 months or so. So I'm feeling pretty good, and I'm starting to add a few things back. But I recently downloaded your yeast protocol, your new yeast protocol book, and you mentioned in there about apple cider vinegar. Because up until now, I've been pretty much just putting olive oil and some coconut aminos on my salad, which isn't bad at all, but I'm getting a little bored. So the question is, I know that it's probably individual whether or not you can handle something like that or not. So what about that, and also coconut? I came across the coconut vinegar, which on the label it says there's no sugars, and I didn't know if that was something that I could also experiment with.
Right. Okay, so a couple of clarifications, Karen. We're not allowed to talk about yeast overgrowth.
Okay.
It is a disease. I've never heard any doctors knowing about yeast overgrowth, but apparently it's a disease according to the FDA, so they know better. So I'll answer your questions about the apple cider vinegar. It's 50-50 with people being able to, I guess, tolerate apple cider vinegar. So it's really something you could test, very gently. So the way I personally would do it is one day I'd have apple cider vinegar, and the other day the coconut aminos, another day, something else, so that you don't create a buildup. That's sort of the food intolerance way to introduce things into your diet is just do them every 48, 72 hours. And coconut vinegar, I haven't even heard of it. So I haven't been able to try it myself. Again, it's a matter of testing it and seeing. And, basically what we get into problems with so-called food allergies or sensitivities because our gut gets irritated and we're absorbing incompletely digested foods, and then we eat those foods every day or even several times a day, and then the body just can't keep up with the antibodies that are formed to try to get rid of these foreign materials. So it's every 48, 72 hours to test things and rotating new foods that you bring into your diet.
Okay. Well, let's just say that a healthy individual wants to reduce the amount of sugar that they ingest in their body, just because they want to just maybe start reducing and become even more healthy. What is your feeling on using cacao powder, which I believe doesn't have any sugar in it whatsoever? Is that a good alternative, like to get like a little chocolate taste, say, in a smoothie or something, without adding sugar?
And cacao powder is high in magnesium, so there's an added benefit there. I use cacao and coconut oil. I do put a little, just like sugar, alternative sweetener, just like sugar. I think it's chicory as the base. Let me see. Just like sugar ingredients. It's chicory root, dietary fiber. And I haven't had any problems with that. I'll put a quarter to a half teaspoon and a few tablespoons of coconut oil and a big heaping a tablespoon of cacao. Mix that up, and it's just an oily mush. And put a 2-inch piece of frozen banana, roll that in, or you can roll a couple in, actually. And that makes a fabulous dessert that really is not sugar.
That sounds good. So, well, but thank you. Going forward, just your knowledge on nutrition in general would be a very interesting subject, for you to address, for all of us healthy individuals out there.
Right. Perfect words. Yes, you're right. And as I said earlier, I don't know what I know until people ask me a question.
Sure.
And, I love answering questions. So, yes, if people can ask me anything, I'll tell you if I don't know. But there's a lot of information I can pass on.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. You've helped me in so many ways, and I'm going to continue to follow like a little soldier and get healthier every day.
Very good, Karen. Thank you so much for calling. Perfect.
Okay, thanks.
I have too many telephones here at my desk. Hello. Oh. Thank you, Karen. Oh, wasn't that sweet? That was a very sweet call. Hold on just a second. She said the perfect words, and Judy also was chiming in and saying, we are here learning how to talk to you all over again. Just people wanting to connect with you and gain from your wisdom, and then yet trying to figure out how to get their words and their questions through the process. But I think that's very sweet. Okay, so June's conversation was... How else do we use our largest elimination organ to detox if not by using a sauna? Exercise is a sympathetic nerve condition, and we don't detox while in a sympathetic state. We only detox while in a parasympathetic state, such as when we sleep or sauna. Well, I don't know if that's accurate. Do you, Carolyn? I mean, I thought breathing was detoxification.
Yeah. No, June, I don't know who you're getting the words from, but you can't make a general... broad-based statements like that, and they be true. We don't know enough about detox. We don't know enough about anything. And who says we have to focus so much on making ourselves detox? The body detoxes through the skin, through the urine, through the intestines, through the liver does so much of it. So I say support the liver, and we use the methylated B vitamins in Realign and the glutathione precursor, the methionine, and let the body take those substances and help the liver do its job. And in terms of detoxing, it's more about not putting things into your body, and that includes words. It includes, being like angry with someone makes you toxic. Being fearful makes you toxic. If you're afraid you're not detoxifying enough, that sets up a cortisol stress reaction in the body, which then it focuses the retention of fat in the belly. The belly fat apparently is from high levels of cortisol, and any sort of stress the body looks upon as starvation. It translates stress into starvation. I don't know what percentage, but stress makes the physiology of the body concerned that you're going to face a period of fasting, and the body conserves all the calories it can in the fat cells. And that's why part of weight gain is related to stress and cortisol. So I'm not going to tell you how to purge and do all kinds of strenuous things for your body, which may already be stressed. And having normal bowel movements is part of having a healthy body, which is part of having the right nutrients, which includes your your magnesium as the mineral that helps your intestinal muscles work properly. So I've talked around the question. Hopefully that gives you some words that you can identify with, June.
Yep, very good. Excellent. Okay, 602-666-6027. We've got a few minutes left in the show this morning.
Which one was that? I know Jenny's dogs now, personally.
Yes, you do.
Well, and how is the cat? How is Beyonce? I've been meaning to ask. Did
oh my gosh! So you guys, when Carolyn came to visit me, we have this cat, Miss Beyonce, that Austin, Greg's son, named Beyonce, and she is just such a prima donna, and she's a tortie, so she has what they call tortitude. And so Carolyn tells me, Carolyn is not necessarily an animal lover. She's not like she's a cat lady running around with all this information. But, of course, she's perfectly placed in every situation. So she tells me, well, my friend who knows a lot about cats says that if you get a pheromone collar for them or a pheromone machine, they will calm down. So I was on Amazon so fast it made your head spin. My God, this pheromone, it's like a plug-in wall vaporizer thing.
Diffuser.
Oh my God, Carolyn!
They call it a diffuser. Yeah.
Yeah, a diffuser, a pheromone diffuser, and what it does is it diffuses the pheromones in the house. Well, according to what they say, who knows? I mean, I don't think it's a placebo effect because of what's happened to the cat. But they say it diffuses so many cat pheromones in the space that the cat actually thinks that there's more cats around and it feels safe and it doesn't get as aggressive. That's what they say is happening. Well, let me tell you, Miss B is addicted to that diffuser. She has she's pushed her little kitty cat bed right up next to the window where the diffuser's plugged in, and she lays there all day in a ball and just snorts her pheromones, and she's happy as a clam now.
Oh, that is so fun.
So much so that she won't leave the kitchen where the cat pheromone machine is. So I had to get another pheromone diffuser to put it in the living room so she would actually move out of the kitchen and start to come into the rest of the house. And so, yes, it's the most hilarious thing. She is totally addicted to her kitty pheromones. So that's what she's doing. But she's calmed down tremendously, and she's very purry and friendly now while people come over. So it's hilarious.
I know this was a cat who would lash out. I mean, you jumped when her paw came at you, and yeah, it was strange because you could pet her, or I could pet her 4 times, and then out came the claws, and it was incredible. And yeah, they're aggressively maintaining their space, because they think they're alone and isolated and they have to protect themselves. So that's awesome. What does Austin think?
Oh, he thinks it's great. Yeah, he's very happy. His cat is all calmed down and normal now. Yeah, so it's very good. So even Carolyn is the Dr. Doolittle of the animal world, and she doesn't even mean to be. Everywhere she goes, things change, and everybody improves, and everybody gets balanced and healthy and wonderful. Yes, it's so hilarious. But, yeah, she's doing great, Carolyn. She's doing great. Excellent. Okay, so let's see. What else do we have here on the human level that we need to discuss this evening? Great. Oh, yeah, Nancy, that was a great segment referencing detoxing. Detox has applied to me in my journey to more health, so that's descriptive, and it was very good to hear. Thank you very much. Yeah, very good. Yeah, always good to have clarifying comments. Always good. Yep, excellent. Okay, let's see. What else do we have to do? Oh, in August does Dr. Dean's new book drop? Does anybody know?
Well, it's August 15, according to Amazon. And, yes, this is the book you have to say the words that I can't. Seriously. I mean, that's it. Just order the book. Order lots of books. this is the book you need to give at Christmas to everybody, at Thanksgiving, at whatever holidays you support and follow. They can't stop the book.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, very, very good. And it is really phenomenal. I mean, the reviews that we've gotten back on it, and of course we've got our advanced copies, and we've all gotten a chance to look at it, and it's pretty amazing. It goes into everything, and it does. It will be the ambassador. It's now the actual official ambassador of Dr. Carolyn Dean. It will just go out there and speak. Yes, and it's really extraordinary. It's just, and what a value. I mean, to think that you could have all this information in a book is just incredible. Just incredible. So yes, you'll be very happy to have it.
Yeah, they kept the price down. It's 600 pages. I mean, it's huge. But yeah, it's a wonderful resource, and it's the type of thing that it's built for a medical audience and also for the public. So it's a type of thing that you can take to your doctor with all the medical references so that they feel comfortable with you taking magnesium, because magnesium is not something they learned about in medical school.
And, how could you? It's not a drug. Mm-hmm. I mean, it just makes so much sense now. I mean, this has been an incredible education. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I mean, it's just incredible. Yep, absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
So, in terms of more information, I think one of the things I have to do is I'll get Chad to put my wellness program back up on drcarolyndean.com, and that's another thing, another information source that people can really start accessing. And if you're on my newsletter, actually, you've probably already received the first 4 modules for free, and then some people have continued on and bought the whole program, and you can email me or email through support@RNA Reset to find out how to get a discount on the 2-year program. But I talk about vitalizing foods. I do talk about supplements in general, personal care, energizing exercise, super nutrients. So that's, living space. What else? Rejuvenating sleep and mind over matter. And as I said earlier, it was a way for me to try to impart so much of the information I'd learned over the years. The first module is eating what your ancestors ate. The second one, the power of protein. Third, I've got it. I've got it in a different sequence here. Sorry. Nasal lubrication is the second one. Number 3. Nope, can't find it. Oh, here. I've got it in different modules. Number 3 is old-fashioned vitamin C, in which I talk about the liposomal vitamin C. And number 4 actually is interesting. It's the pretty sure it's a nasal one. Can't find it. Lubricating your sinuses with oils. But anyway, I'm just rambling to take up the last couple of minutes. And what Ginny and I may do, you can let us know if you're going to be able to help us ask and answer enough questions. But we had a thought that we might go to a 1-hour format instead of the 2 hours. So that's a possibility because I don't really want to just stumble along for 2 hours if people aren't interested or don't have questions. And, if we can't talk about the diseases, and our mandate really is we don't want to talk about disease. We want to talk about health. And if people feel that they have enough information by already doing the products, by Googling their questions and getting their answers, by putting more focus on reading my free books and materials that you can find on the Internet, then, we may be servicing our customers as much as they require. What do you think, Ginny?
Well, I do think one thing, I love, what Judy said, which is that, the audience is trying to figure out how to talk with you. And I also think like a person like Michelle who typed in, I'm new to the complement formulas. I started on Remag, then Remite a month ago. I'm struggling with regular rhythm in my heart. She's talking about fluoride drugs, antibiotics, and these kind of things. And then she says, how long can I feel supported, i.e. regular rhythm with your wonderful products? And this is the other challenge, is that people want to get encouragement, specific encouragement, about them. And we can't encourage you to use our products to treat a heart rhythm issue, Michelle. We have to tell you to go to your doctor and let them work with you. So what we can only do is encourage you about the quality of our products and how we know that they're beneficial from a dietary supplement standpoint. So that's another thing that we're going to have to think about. But we've got time to work it all out. And like I said, we're not going to be here next week, but we're going to be here the following week in a 2-hour format, and we're going to keep on working at it until we get it straightened away. But, Michelle, you're going to be all right. Just hang in there and make sure that you are communicating with your doctor for the heart rhythm issues that you do have. And in the meantime, we'll sort this all out, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. Right, Carolyn?
That's right. Yes.
Okay, and very good.
I'll be able to talk ad infinitum without my scratchy throat. Aloha, everybody.
Aloha, everybody.
AchieveRadio.com. Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is AchieveRadio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AchieveRadio.
When you purchase the latest TV, tablet, or smartphone, don't forget to